My name is Neil. I'm with Dorkaholics. At Dorkaholics, we believe that there is a dork in all of us, and our job is to bring that dork out into the world.
Yeah.
So, to kick things off, I wanted to ask you, Captain, what made you a dork growing up?
I was growing up, I had a giant wallpaper on one side of the wall, which was the shuttle Columbia landing. And so I think at that point, I was destined to do something within aviation. I was fascinated. I remember where I was watching the Challenger, that the unfortunate event with that. But we watched again. We were in school watching the shuttle launches, and that episode happened. But I think at a young age, I fell in love with aviation and pursued math and science and physics in high school, and then ultimately went off to college to become an engineer. So I'm right there with the dorks. I'm with you.
Mm. And just because you said the keyword school, I
Yeah,
am a part-time high school teacher. I teach an elective class in a STEM department, and we
yeah.
actually have an aviation program. So I'm curious if you have any advice for high school students taking an aviation class with aspirations to work in this field.
Uh, well, I'll start. You can have any background to become an aviator. There are English majors, history majors, and everything in between. Uh, but that said, the highest percentage in what they do look for in the selection process is those with a STEM background. And for STEM, everything starts with math, right? You know, math is the cornerstone for STEM and being able to understand concepts and definitions and apply them to the real world. That's ultimately what we end up doing in the aircraft is taking complicated algorithms and displays and information and then process it out in a way that gets our aircraft to where it needs to go.
Mm. I mean, as someone who arrived at Meridian 24 years ago, you've been there
Yeah.
for over 2 decades. What are some of the changes that you've seen in students?
Yeah. Well, I went through as a student 24 years ago, so I was on the other side at that point as a bright-eyed young individual who didn't know much about naval aviation and got to get indoctrinated through the flight school training at that point, and then left and went off to the fleet and flew gray aircraft and F-18s for 20 some years before finally coming back here just 2 years ago. And the difference is it's still the same students, still the same mentality and mindset. The platform is a little bit different. Some of the training devices we have with the simulators are a lot better than what I had going through 24 years ago. But it is yeah, the mentality and the culture is still the same, but some of the training devices are better.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of those training devices, I recall seeing the episode that mentioned the AI assisted flight systems now.
Yeah, the some of the systems within our training. So we have a mixed reality training device where you put on the headset there, the Oculus Rift looking headset, and can go and do a flight, and it does a great job monitoring what you're looking at, where you're scanning, and things that your process of going through the event, and it's able to then we can use that within the debrief to help them.
Mm. And I'm curious because I like to dig into the numbers, and
Yeah.
I wonder if what the I guess philosophy behind Top Gun is in regards to, like, I guess pass rates. Is the mark of a successful program to see a higher percentage of students pass, or are we trying to maintain a certain pass fail rate as some of these competitive schools would do in academia?
I think you maintain a high standard and then you develop a training syllabus to get everybody to that standard, or at least most people to that standard. So whether Top Gun, the course, or the advanced flight training that we do here, we have a high standard. We're uncompromising in the standard, and we create the training syllabus to get everybody to that standard. Some are not able to make it and fall and are not able to complete, but the vast majority are able to.
Mm. And I recall your speech about the training method at Naval Aviation schools is drinking from a fire hose, and in
Yeah.
order to prepare students for the stressful environments that they will likely be in, or for sure be in. So, what is the best advice that you received when it came to managing stressful situations?
It comes back to preparation and being able to rehearse. prior to an event, and not just, sitting down and memorizing the checklist or memorizing the action items, but actually transport yourself, if you will, into that event. And we call it chair flying, where you're mentally rehearsing and going through each of the steps of what is the most important piece of information. So as that fire hose of data and information is coming at you at 400 miles an hour, the very handful of key pieces of information that you need to be looking at in order to safely do the evolution.
Mm. And I wonder, could anything have prepared you for that moment where there was a student that you were co-piloting with, and I say
Yeah.
delicately, they came in with a very full belly that
Well, I think in that case, he actually had an empty belly, which flying on a completely empty stomach is not the best way for dealing with high G maneuvering. But yeah, as he had it, it came back to, first and foremost, we've got to safely fly the aircraft. So I took the controls for a little bit to let him get situated, and then at that point, the event itself was over. The training dogfighting was done for the day, but I wanted to see how resilient he was. And it's I've been in long flights where you'll get a headache, you'll not feel very well, and at the end of it, you have to come back and land on the ship. So you've got to get yourself to a point where you can continue to fly the aircraft and safely get home. And I wanted to see if he could do it, and he did. So that was great.
Mhm. And I would be remiss to not bring up the Top Gun film franchise.
Okay.
And I wonder, from your perspective, what do the Top Gun films get right about this experience? And what does the Top Gun's documentary series capture best?
Okay. I think the spirit of naval aviation is alive and well in dedication to mission and getting the job done and figuring out a way to get the job done. That's in the movies, in particular the second movie that came out 2 years ago. It was great to the spirit of naval aviation is very true. What you see in the movies with the mindset that we have. The part that is maybe not highlighted in the movies because it wouldn't make for a good movie is the amount of hard work and preparation that goes into getting to that point. You just don't show up on the carrier one day and have all this training automatically teleported into you. You have to put in years of hard work in order to get to a point where you can go out and execute those incredibly complicated missions. And then in particular for those missions itself, it's not just show up in the morning and figure out what you're going to do and go execute. It is days and weeks and months of preparation to get yourself to a point where you can go out and execute a high-end mission.
Mm. I mean, my favorite part about the series was getting that glimpse into the background and lives and personalities of these students, and seeing that it is not like a one size fits all, but like these students can come from a wide variety of backgrounds. Of course, having that STEM background, having
Yeah,
the right attitude for this type of role, but you have dog lovers, people that are very competitive. Um,
yeah.
I wonder, has that always been a thing, even back when you were a student?
Yeah, it's meritocracy. We don't care where you came from. We have a level of performance, and if you meet that level of performance and you are willing to put in the work and dedication, you have to be able to work hard, have failures, fix it, and then get better from there. That's the cornerstone of naval aviation. Of debriefing and analysis after an event, after a mission, after an evolution to figure out what you could have done better, and then apply that as you go through the next day. And that level of resiliency. So even though everybody has a different personality, the effort and the wanting to get better is, I think that's a trait that's probably in all of them because that's what's required to do our job.
Mm, yeah. I mean, it was definitely worth noting that first episode, seeing that
Yeah,
even though they hit like 6.6 Gs, and it's like, oh, like that was past the threshold, but they were
yeah,
able to kind of get back on the saddle and like do better after for the next mission, or practice
yeah.
training.
Get
I
better every day.
hmm I wonder, do you happen to recall what your first flight was like?
I don't know. I blacked out probably. Uh, the first flight I did in Meridian, though, I do remember that I flew with, he was a simulator instructor, his name was Bert Zeller, and he was also a reserve captain. So he came in as a '06 captain and flew with me on my first flight in the T2. And he was incredibly disarming because he was a very loud personality in the simulator building, but when he came over to fly, he was just a very calm and cool individual. And I attempted to have some of that disarming humor as I would brief with the students of disregarding the rank. I'm just a freeze dried JO that's here to do instructing. And So that's one thing I remembered from my early flights in Meridian, and I tried to incorporate as I now find myself on the other end of the podium.
Mm. And now that you find yourself on the other side podium, similar to let's say Top Gun Maverick, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What are some of the things that you have learned on the job thus far in this mentorship type of role?
For I think a big part is understanding the students and their mentality and where they're at. As you do something for a long time and you become incredibly proficient at it, you forget what it was like to be young and to not know how to do basic things. And so having that degree of empathy, it's being empathetic to where they're at and realizing. The humility to realize that you probably were just as ignorant and clueless as they are now. We were all there before, and I think everybody, all the instructors, we preached that over and over again of just hey, remember we all were not very good at once and at one time, and look at where we are now, and it's because we had trainers and mentors that were able to continue to help us grow.
Mm. And I wanted to also ask about a particular student, Steph Harris, just because
Okay.
her story involved being coming into the military a bit older than like,
Yeah.
brisk-eyed young high school graduates, and
Yeah.
kind of her journey into it. Did you find yourself, or if you knew of more of the other staff that interacted with her more personally, what type of unique circumstances she was kind of having to deal with like internally being a bit older than other students when she began her career.
Okay. Yeah, there are a handful of students that come through a little bit older as they've done either something before or maybe prior military service, or some have even gone. They were aviators flying a different platform that have now come through to go through the jet syllabus. So we do have those that come through. They bring a little bit more maturity. I think that really shows as they interact within their own class because they've got a little bit more experience. She was unique though. I mean, I do remember some of her story of she taught yoga. My wife, I think, went to one of her yoga classes. She played the guitar, sang, owned a small business in New York City. So a pretty cool and eclectic background. And she did well. She crushed the program. I think she was one of the top performers out of her class. And she's probably off doing great things in I think she went to Miramar, so San Diego, California.
Mm. Well, thank you so much, Captain.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure speaking with you. I'm very excited to get more people to be watching Top Gun
Okay.
the series.
Yeah. No, Neil, thanks for the questions. This is great.